is Savri. I'm here today with a few friends of mine. Your facilitator should have provided you a number that you can text throughout the video because we have questions for you to answer. If you don't have that number yet, pause the video and get it if you can. Now we're going to test out the texting. So take out your phones and text what is your favorite social media app or online gaming platform or your favorite online game.
Hello, I'm Melissa. Now that you know how the texting works, let's get started. We know by now that you know all about online predators. Well, today we're going to make sure that you understand the whole truth about what can happen if you aren't careful. And if you do find yourself in a situation where you do need help, we've got you covered on that too. Today's objective is to make sure that you'll be able to explain commercial sexual exploitation of children, understand what makes boys, girls, and LGBTQ teens vulnerable, explain the typical stages of exploitation and strategies that you can use to prevent it, reach out to victim advocates if necessary, and understand the laws in place that protect children who are being trafficked. Zane will take it from here.
Hi, everyone. So the reason it's important to learn about predators is that they could actually be traffickers. So once the trafficker picks their victim, they start by grooming them. So that could lead to extortion, which leads to exploitation. Essentially, the trafficker starts making money off of their victim with sex and things of that nature. So let's take a closer look at the definition of trafficking minors or commercial sexual exploitation of children. Basically, it is sexual abuse of a child by an adult in exchange for goods such as money, food, and drugs. Essentially, the child ends up being treated as just a commercial sex object. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, every 2 minutes, a child is being trafficked across the United States, which unfortunately rounds out to about 100,000 to 300,000 minors per year. And according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Florida ranks number 3 among all the states across the nation for reported calls. And that could be due to how Florida is a hotspot for sporting events and tourism and things of that nature. And now my friend Iman will take it from here.
So let's say you knew someone that liked chatting with online friends, someone they do not know. What would you say to them to protect them? Pause the video to discuss. So assuming that you want your friend to stay safe, you can tell them that if they are chatting with online friends, it could potentially be a predator disguising himself as a child or a teen their age. Just encourage them to delete any unknown friend requests or follows that they get. Here is an example of an actual text message that's been going around. Now imagine how you would feel or how anyone will feel if they discovered the real person behind each text message. And they're responsible for luring minors just like you. Never feel obligated to respond to a text message or a request that you do not know in order to keep yourself and others safe. So now let's say if someone didn't delete and decided to engage in a conversation, what do you think a teen might share that could be used against them? Just think for a moment. Okay, to the teen that feels safe sharing private information or pictures online, they do not realize that this can be used against them. In fact, predators can threaten to expose these pictures or private information in order to make the teen feel obligated to do things that they don't really want to do. And this is known as extortion. So what do you think it means to be vulnerable? Pause the video and discuss. So whatever a teen needs, whether it's to be accepted, loved, understood, money, food, or even a friend, this is what makes the teen vulnerable. When the predator is successful in making someone feel loved, accepted, or understood, they're attempting to lure the teens in. And when the teen believes in these false promises or assumptions, it makes them even more vulnerable. But who exploits the vulnerable? Aside from your typical online friend, a relative, a neighbor, some random cute guy that you saw in the mall who offered to buy you Starbucks, a fellow student, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or a helpful lady could exploit the vulnerable. Now, I like to draw attention to the helpful lady. Although many people expect online or in-person predators to be men, ladies, given that they're not threatening by nature, they're more successful at luring teens. So we all want trustworthy people in our lives, someone that we can have in our corner to confide with. But how can we differentiate between someone who is trustworthy as opposed to someone who's a walking red flag? Well, today we're going to discuss those things. Someone who is trustworthy is authentic, who is real, you don't have to question their intentions because you know exactly who they are, as opposed to a person who is charming. Now, a charming person is someone who's overtly charismatic or tries to prove something to you, even though it may not seem genuine. A person who is respectful is completely trustworthy, someone who treats you the way you want to be treated, and vice versa. As opposed to someone who is judgmental, who looks at you and decides to critique every little aspect of your life in order to make themselves feel superior over you. A person who is consistent is trustworthy, who stays the same throughout and does not change in behavior or their personality, as opposed to a person who becomes different, who gets angry, for instance, for no reason. A trustworthy person is agreeable. They value your opinion and your point of view and will likely try to meet a consensus with you, as opposed to a person who is manipulative. A manipulative person tries to change your story in order to make you the bad guy, which is not necessarily a trustworthy person now, is it? A trustworthy person is someone who keeps boundaries, who knows your limits and you know theirs, and doesn't seek to cross those boundaries, which is a key indicator of a red flag. A trustworthy person is someone who can compromise, someone who can meet you in the middle in order to get what both of you want, as opposed to a person who needs to be in control. When a person becomes too possessive or controlling over you, this is a clear indicator that they are a walking red flag, and please take heed of these warnings. And now, without further ado, we're going to pass it on to Zion.
Teens assume that the trafficker is always a man, yet, as Aman just explained, it can also be a woman. Teens also assume only girls can be victims. However, according to the U.S. Institute Against Human Trafficking, 10 to 15% of sexually trafficked children in the United States are males, conservatively. There are also some studies showing that it can be up to 50%. Next, we will show you a video from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website about two guys both sharing their experiences.
It happened to me 5 years ago. My parents were divorcing and things at school and with friends weren't too good. I felt like the world was falling down around me. That's when I met someone online. We would chat about everything in my life. I finally had someone to take my side and see things my way. I had someone who put me first. No matter how much I thought we could trust each other, I knew better than to meet in person with someone I had met on the internet. But one day, when school was dismissed early, there was someone waiting for me at my front door. I never thought I'd find myself in this situation. I learned the hard way that no matter who you think you're talking to online, there are people out there looking to hurt you. It doesn't matter if they're male or female, or if they look a little rough around the edges, or even if they're the most beautiful person. These people exist, online and in the real world.
It happened to me too. I was 14 and someone online sent me a private message. I shouldn't have responded, but I messaged back and 7 days later, agreed to be picked up outside of my house at midnight. I was taken to another house and what happened there was terrifying. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I felt numb and powerless and didn't know what to do. I was too afraid to tell my parents and ashamed of what everyone would think of me. But hiding it was a mistake. I saw the car that I was taking and driving around my neighborhood all summer long. Was I being targeted again, or was someone else being victimized? I finally decided to tell someone.
I have to live with the decision I made to trust someone I met on the internet.
But the important thing is that I told someone. I'm not a victim, but a survivor.
Now, I need everyone to get their phones ready because we're going to have a pop quiz. We want you to think about what might be different reasons girls are exploited versus the reasons guys could be exploited. Listen carefully to the directions on the next slide. On this slide, you will review the list of reasons that might relate to girls being exploited. You will text which letters, A, B, and etc., that you think apply to girls being exploited. A, developed an emotional attachment. B, self-exploits for drugs. C, runaway needing food and shelter. D, depressed from being bullied. E, looking for love and attention. F, looking for acceptance. Now pause the video here to text in your answers. Now text in the letters you think that relate to boys being exploited. Pause the video here to text in your answers. You've probably guessed that girls can develop an emotional attachment to the person exploiting them. But did you know that guys can too? You might be surprised to learn that both girls and guys can self-exploit if they need food, shelter, or if they have a drug addiction. Basically, both girls and guys can be exploited for the reasons listed. I also want to mention, although anyone can be looking for acceptance, this is especially important for LGBTQ teens who don't seek acceptance from home.
In the next few slides, we're going to break down the commercial sexual exploitation of children into 3 stages. The first stage begins when the predator says all the right things to lure the teen, whether online or in person, to build trust and an emotional attachment. This is called grooming. The person is so wonderful and the teen feels so happy, it seems too good to be true. Once the trafficker thinks the teen is ready, they tell the teen that they need money and ask the teen to earn money for them by crossing the line, doing things such as dancing at a strip club or selling private pictures. This is the first red flag. The fact that the teen does not want to do this is a major red flag, but when the teen feels obligated to do this is when red lights start flashing. The teen knows in their gut something is wrong. But stage 3 happens if the teen chooses to cross the line. The charming trafficker that was going to make the teen's dreams come true is now controlling, demanding, and even physically abusive. They will extort or blackmail the teen to do more and continue to exploit them on a daily basis because they believe they now own the teen and make the teen feel they have nowhere else to go now that they have crossed the line.
Hi, I'm Fumi. Now we're going to go over some strategies on how to prevent being exploited. Remember grooming when everything seems wonderful and the predator is trying to develop an emotional attachment with the teen? Although there are good people out there, it's important that we remember to watch for any red flags, like when a person seems just too good to be true. At this point, it's important to trust your gut feelings and walk away, and the sooner, the better. If the teen doesn't walk away, eventually they'll be asked to cross the line. If the person was in denial before, hopefully at this point they realize that the predator is trying to use them, and if they cross the line, it will only get worse. So remember, don't cross the line. Take a breath, be as assertive as you can, and make an excuse. Say things like, "I don't feel good today, maybe tomorrow." Postponing crossing the line gives the teen time to reach out to a trusted adult for help. And if you don't have a trusted adult in mind, or you don't have anyone that you feel comfortable reaching out to, you'll meet some people in a moment who will really know how to help. Remember, stage 3 starts if the teen doesn't walk away and they choose to cross the line. This is when everything starts to change. In order to keep the teen under control, they're brainwashed and they're fed one lie after another. So how can we tell these lies from reality? Well, the teens are told things like, now that you've crossed the line, you have nowhere else to go. When in reality, there are safe houses available. Or teens are told things like, this is only a temporary situation, and once we earn enough money, we're going to stop. But in reality, things will only get worse. They may be fed lies about being arrested, but the reality is that there are laws that protect minors, such as the Safe Harbor Act. If the trafficker has been making the teen use drugs, the teen may be worried about where they will get their next fix, but the reality is that there are rehabs available. And possibly the worst lie of them all, the predator may tell the teen things like, no one cares for you like I do. But the reality is that there are teams available and all kinds of support services to help the teen get back to a normal life. This seems like the right time to introduce some experts.
I'm Otis, and I'm happy to introduce you to the people who understand how to help you and are here for you to reach out to if you don't have a trusted adult. Remember to have your phones ready after they're done speaking. That way you can take a picture of their contact information.
We're here for you if you ever need someone who understands and knows how to help. Nosotros estamos aquí para usted si alguna vez necesita a alguien que pueda ayudar y los comprenda.
If you or a friend feel unsafe and cannot speak up, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We can be a friend, a mentor, or a safe haven. You are not alone. Please reach out to us.
Here at DCF, we service thousands of families in need of help each year. We play a big role in human trafficking investigations, working in partnership with local law enforcement agencies and community resources to provide survivors of human trafficking with safe housing, counseling, substance abuse, mental health, and medical care treatment, or any other services our survivors may need. If you or someone you know may be a victim of human trafficking, don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Hi everyone, I'm here from the Crisis Center to let you know you can call 211 24/7 if you need help connecting the resources or if you just need someone to talk to.
I want to make sure that you understand that there are laws to protect minors who've been exploited. For example, Florida's Safe Harbor Act ensures that children and teens are provided a safe place to live with the services that they need, and they are not prosecuted for acts that they were forced to commit. But the people who can help don't know who needs it until someone reaches out. They really do understand, and they just want to help. What's more important than being safe and sound?
What would you do if you thought a friend was being exploited? Friends like to keep secrets, and some secrets are okay. Not all secrets are dangerous, but these kinds of secrets, if you keep them, are really risky to your friend. Personally, if I thought a friend was being exploited, I'd try and comfort them and help them out. And, if anything that they wanted me to do to make it easier for them to get help, I'd do. What would you want a friend to do if they thought you were being exploited? Personally, if I was being exploited, I'd want a friend to listen to what I was thinking and feeling. And when I go to get help, I'd want them to come with me and kind of act as, support. Never forget, not all adults understand what you're going through, and a lot of them don't know how to help at all. A lot of them will actually not help you. But there are trained professionals out there who've been through similar things that you have experienced and know exactly how to help you.
So we're going to end this presentation with an excerpt from the poem, The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. In this poem, she asks, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? And she goes on by answering like this. When the day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. A new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we are brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it.
And with that being said, we challenge you to not only see the light, but also be the light. amongst your friends, and in your community. Thank you. What would you do if you notice a student is acting different and you have a gut feeling that something isn't right? What would you do if a friend told you that their online friend was threatening to post their private pictures if he or she doesn't meet them tonight? What would you do if your amazing boyfriend or girlfriend needs money and is expecting you to earn it by forcing you to do something that you don't want to do? What would you do if a friend told you they were going away for the weekend with the perfect woman or man and they want you to cover for them?